Hi, I'm Dana, and today I wanted to talk about my mother again. It's been a little while since we did a full video about my mother, so for anyone that's new, I stopped talking to my mum on April 17th of 2022. I do only remember that because I always Google the Easter Sea Devils episode of Doctor Who that I had this massive blowout argument with my mum, was like, I'm never fucking talking to her again. And I went home and watched Doctor Who because I'm autistic and it made me feel better. So I googled the date that episode came out to know when I stopped talking to my mother. And then I have to go onto my brother's Facebook to see when he made the little post with the day she was born and the date she died. And that's how I know when my mother died, which was the 17th of August 2024. So I had right around 2 years of no contact with her, being estranged, not speaking to her. And it's now been right around the 2 year, well, yesterday was exactly 2 years since she died, and it did fuck me up a little bit. And that's why I want to talk about this. Because a big part of the reason that I stopped talking so much about it was that I do feel quite alone in it, you know? Like, there's not that many people that are no contact with their parents, and there's even fewer people that have had their no contact parents die. And it feels like quite an isolating situation to be in. And quite often when I post things about it online, people try really hard to relate and help me out, but it's a very different situation that they're experiencing, and it just makes me feel all the more alone because you're trying to stretch and twist it. And I'm not saying that people absolutely don't relate and can't imagine how I feel, but they're not going through the same thing, and they're sort of trying to twist it like they are so that I can feel better, but it's not making me feel better because it is not the same thing. So it's often made me feel a bit more lonely and a bit less great about it. So it's one that I've stopped posting about quite so much. But I use a lot of this channel to sort of document what I'm going through and what I'm dealing with as a person. And I also the other side of it is trying to make content that might be helpful to other people that go through similar things. And I do think that more and more people are going no contact with their parents as we realise we actually don't have to just be abused for our whole entire lives. And as such, I think that probably, unfortunately, there will be more people going through the kind of thing that I've been through with it. So, as with most of my content, this is mostly for me, and then if it's helpful to someone else, that's fucking great. I love that, because I would really appreciate seeing people, somebody out there, make content like this so that I didn't feel quite so alone, and I'm not finding it, so we can provide it for others. So, I didn't have that large of a reaction when my mum initially died because I was going through a whole situation with the house that I was living in, feeling very unstable in my living situation. My housemate was constantly fucking annoyed at me for one thing or another. I remember that at one point they were like, "Why are you so miserable lately?" And I was like, "My mum died less than a week ago. That's why I'm miserable." And they were like, "Oh shit, yeah." And we'd also had the whole thing where they were away when my mum died, which fine, you're my housemate, not my soul, you can leave. But I'd text and be like, I know this is a bit awkward, but I'm just letting you know I've just found out that my mum died. And when they came home, they were being really fucking weird with me, and then they'd said something or another, and I was like, "Well, I did let you know that my mum died." And they were like, "No, you didn't." And I was like, I did. And they went through their text messages and were like, "Oh god, you did." And I was like, "Yeah, I did. That was actually quite big news for me to tell you, but just skim past it, it's fine, I guess." My best friend at the time did come to stay with me, but I don't know if they were trying to distract me. I don't know if they did genuinely have good intentions. I don't feel like they had good intentions for the majority of our friendship, so I doubt it. And essentially, everyone around me just acted like my mum, it didn't make any difference. They acted like it must not affect me whatsoever because I haven't been talking to her anyway. So if you're not talking to, your mother, the person that raised you, the person that was there through all of your childhood, that traumatised you repeatedly and was never actually nice to you, but you tried so hard to make her like you and she just never fucking did, it's just not a big deal if she's dead, is it? So it's one of those things where I did try really hard to process it and deal with it at the time. And I had several family members and family friends message me being like, "Oh, and your mother's died, if you even care." So I replied to the person that had approached me in the kindest way, being like, "Do you know what I would need to do, or where I would reach out to be able to see her body? Because I think that would help me a lot with closure. I think I would feel a lot better about it, because I felt a lot better with seeing my dad's body when he died. That was a big bit of closure for me." And honestly, I feel like my brain is I know human beings are animals, but I really feel like I'm an animal sometimes, and it's well, I haven't seen her be dead, so I don't actually know for sure that she is. It's the person I asked just never replied to me. So it was this whole thing of receiving the information that my mother's dead and trying very hard to like process it and deal with it and grieve and like figure out how I felt about it and deal with how I felt about it, while everyone around me just sort of acted like it didn't happen, or if it did happen, it shouldn't be something that should affect me or be a big deal for me in any way. Like, I needed to just get over it and deal with it and move on, because like you didn't talk to her anyway, so fuck it. Like, you've got bigger things like your unstable housing situation to deal with. So it's one of the things where like I did really try to process it and deal with it, but I don't think I really actually did, because I was very much not in a position of life to be able to fucking process and deal with anything. Like, I was in such a fight or flight panic mode all of the time. It was just some information that I had to take on board, and that's there now. That's the thing that I know. No time to do anything with it. And last year I was still in quite a similar position. I don't really remember what I did for it last year. I assume that I noticed it happening. I don't really know. So this year has very much felt like the year that I really processed it. Like, it felt... Yesterday, I had to go to the hospital to have my boob scanned and checked because it keeps really, really, really fucking hurting. But I'm completely fine. There's not a single thing wrong with me. So I've got to just keep advocating for myself and push for that. But it just felt like such a bizarre day for the fact that I had to like go to hospital to have that done the day that on the anniversary of my mother's death. And I walked home. I know that I walked home because I was outside my front door and it had rained, so I was wet. I don't remember the walk home. I don't remember how that was. And then I came in, I closed all my curtains, so I was in the dark. I had like an absolutely fucking massive cry, and it was a whole big deal. And it feels like yesterday was the day that I was like, oh my God, my mum's dead. You know? It felt like prior to yesterday, it had been this like logical fact that I knew. It was this like logical, factual thing that I'd been informed of, and I knew that it was a thing. And then yesterday it like actually hit my feelings, where I was like, oh my God, my mum's dead. My mum's dead. Like, I actually, like, it's not just a factual fact that's out in the world, it's an actual thing that affects me and is like hitting for me, you know? And obviously it's upsetting because I loved my mum very deeply. That's why I stuck around her for so long, even though she was frankly quite fucking awful to me. And that's where this little cry session of like grieving or whatever that I had yesterday went on for a really long time, where like I'd start to come out of it and then I'd start crying again and then I'd start to come out of it. Because a lot of it's things where like I miss the relationship with my mum. There's all these like, I want to tell my mum like, I moved to Yorkshire and I love it here. I want to tell her that like I've been to America, I've met these really cool people, I've made this thing. There's all these things that I want to like inform my mother of, because that's how like conversation happens and she would know things about me. But there's also like when I started getting upset about that, like when I started getting upset of the fact that like I can't tell my mum that I've moved to Yorkshire and I love it here and it's brilliant and it's great, and I can't like invite her to come in and stay for a bit and look, see the places that I go to and all that kind of thing. I'd get really upset about it, and then I'd be like, I'm not so sure I'd have fucking done it if I spoke to her, you know? Like, I can so vividly imagine phoning my mum or like going to see her in the way that I used to when we were still talking, and sitting there and having me cuppa and having me smoke with her and being like, you know what, I think I'm going to move to Yorkshire. And I can so clearly in my head here be like, what do you want to do that for? Why not? Why would you do that? Because that was how she reacted to like fucking anything that I was planning or thinking about. You know, like the reaction that I wanted from my mother, the relationship that I wanted with my mother, it never existed. It was never there. When my mother was the last resort of like, I don't have anybody else to help me, so I'm going to have to ask my mum for help. And rather than, you know, be my mother and help me, it's going to be this like 15, 20, 25 minute long conversation of me explaining why I need help, and then having to like justify why I need help, and then having to justify why I think she should be the person to help me. And she's going to be really pissy and annoyed about it, and she will help me in the end, but it's not going to be nice. It's not going to feel good. I'm not going to enjoy it. You know, like the things that I wanted from my relationship with my mother were never there in the first place. If I told her like back in 2024 when I went to America, but I'd been like, oh my God, Mum, I'm gonna get to go to America, she'd be like, why do you want to go to America? Why would you want to do that? And the thing that often got me with things like that was that she really wanted to go to St. Petersburg. Like, it's not like she didn't see the point of travel or the point of this or the point of that. Like, she wanted those things for herself. She would think they were good ideas for her. When I had my ideas for myself and my life and the things I wanted to do, like, she wasn't even like horrible about them. It was just why would you want to do that? You know, it just had the implication of like, what a pathetic, stupid idea. Why would anybody ever, like, what a prick. Like, you can. No one's stopping you, but like, why? You know? And similarly with wanting to like tell her about my art and the things that I've made, I know full well that like she wouldn't have been impressed, she wouldn't have been excited, she wouldn't have been happy about it. You know, like if I'd become a fucking astronaut and gone to the moon, she'd have been like, just the moon, not Mars. You didn't go to Mars, alright then. And if I'd become an astronaut and gone to Mars, she'd be like, well, what's wrong with the moon? Why'd you have to go so far? What's wrong with the moon? Do you think you're better than the moon, do you? You know, like there was never any fucking winning with her. So the things that I wanted and the reactions that I'd crave from her and whatever else, you know, like the fact that they didn't exist was a massive part of why I stopped talking to her in the first place. It wasn't there. The things that I wanted from her were not there. The fact that she's dead makes no actual difference to me in my relationship with her because it wasn't there, you know? So every time I started to cry and get really upset about it, I'd be like, I've done this part, you know? And not in like a like shutting it down, bottling it up kind of thing. It was just like, okay, I've had this little bit of a release and like, I've done this, you know, like back in fucking 2022 when I stopped talking to her, I had like 3 months where I would just burst into tears multiple times a day because I missed my mum and I wanted this from my mum and I wish our relationship had been like this and I wish she could have listened to me on this. Like I've already done the grieving of the fact that my mother's never going to be a person who's kind to me, never going to be a person that listens to me, never going to be a person that encourages me and supports me. That's not how my mother was with me. It was never going to happen. So what difference does it make if she's not here? She wasn't here anyway. I'd stop talking to her because she couldn't fucking be nice to me. And while she'd been alive, my mother was the main connector to like the rest of my family for me. Like I mostly saw my family because they were coming to see my mum or my mum was going to see them and I'd tag along with her. I didn't really have like one-to-one relationships with anybody else in the family. So it's the kind of thing where I do on occasion consider like, should I speak to an aunt? Should I message my brother? Should I try this or that? Like it's actually, you know, not that nice not having any family, not speaking to any of the people that knew you for your entire life. Like, I don't enjoy it. It's not my main choice. It's not like, woo, yeah, this is 10 out of 10. It's the fact that the people that are part of my family are so unhealthy and so toxic and just awful to fucking be around that I am better off not having them in my life. It's not something that I wanted to have to decide. It's not a choice I wanted to make. It's just the way that things are. So in going onto my brother's Facebook to find the date that my mum died so that I would know, because otherwise this would just be a whole big stretch where I'm like, I know my mum died on one of these days and they're all just horrible days now. And I did have to cancel all of my weekend plans and not do anything over the weekend that I intended to. And I have plans tomorrow that I'm actually like quite nervous about because I'm not entirely sure I can really hold myself together as a person and act like a human being, but I'm gonna do my fucking best because I need to get out and be a human again. Like it does need to happen. But yeah, my point here was I'd gone back on my brother's Facebook and he used to be someone who did not post on Facebook. He was like, oh, social media is like one of the... Social media, religion and money were the things that he said were like the issues of the world. And if we didn't have those things, everyone would be happy and just get along with each other. Despite the fact that he was like vehemently racist and absolutely despised anyone not from the UK and didn't think that there should be like any movement between borders or anything like that. Everyone should just stay where you're fucking born and never go anywhere. Apart from him, obviously, he should get to travel the world and do what he wants. I have many an issue with my brother essentially, and every now and again I do have the little thought of like, maybe he's changed, maybe my family are different, maybe they've grown as people, maybe this or that. And then I went on my brother's Facebook and there's loads of just AI slop that's like supposed to be funny and it's not if you have like 2 fucking brain cells to rub together. A load of AI racism. And then he's gotten into religion as well. He's posting fucking like psalms and religious poems and like, stop scrolling my child, AI Jesus is here to save you. And I'm like, oh okay, like no, they have just continued to develop as the people that they were while I spoke to them, and they've continued to be the way that makes it impossible for me to maintain a fucking relationship with them because they're horrible people. And, you know, like, I know it sounds dramatic and whatever else, and obviously I had a hell of a lot of, like, interpersonal, actual, like, one-to-one relationship issues with, like, my mother and my brother and my whole fucking family. It's not just that they don't maintain the same political views as me, but also their political views are completely immoral and disgusting. You know, like, I wouldn't be able to tell my mum about, like, my queer and non-binary friends without her using some sort of fucking slur against them. And she didn't see it as, like, her being mean or rude or whatever else. It's just, well, they are this slur, aren't they, if they're that? If that's their identity, then that they are that slur, aren't they? And I would have patience and I would explain to her that no, that's a horrible fucking thing to call somebody. And she didn't care, you know? Like, that's the thing, is that I feel like sometimes when I've talked about like the racism and the like homophobia and all the like many issues with my family, people are very like, well, why didn't you hang around and teach them better if you know better? Like, why didn't you help your family? And like, I fucking tried, pal. Like, I don't feel like I'm able to like have difficult conversations with people anymore, because I honestly God feel like I used up all of my fucking patience on my family trying to get them to stop being fucking awful, and it never ever made a single little bit of a dent. Like, they were proud to have voted for Brexit, they were proud to vote for UKIP, they actively liked Nigel Farage. Like, there's fuck all that I can do there, you know? I tried for like 6 years, it didn't work. So it's one of those things where I get all of these like compounded emotions from the fact of like, I did love my mum to bits. I desperately wanted a family. I really wanted a family relationship. I wanted a relationship with my mum. I wanted to be able to like be close to my family. I wanted, you know, the things that are sort of seen as normal and mostly things that everybody gets to have. I wanted them, and they weren't fucking there in the first place. And that's upsetting. It does upset me that she's dead, don't get me wrong. I'm not like, don't make a difference to me who lives and dies if I don't talk to them. Like, I didn't want her to die, I wanted her to be out there and be alright, but also, it doesn't actually make any difference to me because she couldn't fucking be nice to me or maintain a relationship with me while she was here, you know? So I think it's you know, obviously very fair and valid to feel however the fuck I feel about it. And especially the fact that I'm like, I'm sad that my mum's dead, actually. I'm sad that I'm never going to have any chance at rebuilding the relationship. I'm sad that that is officially just like a relationship that will never exist for me again. You know, it's not fucking happy or nice. It wasn't gonna fucking happen anyway. You know, like, I don't see any fucking world where my mum was eventually going to come around and be like, oh, you know what, actually, yeah, we shouldn't just be horrible to anyone that's not a white British straight person. That's, yeah. You know, it wasn't gonna happen. So it makes no difference to me. And it's one of those things as well where I know I've like sort of gone in on like the racism, homophobia, like shitty person aspect here, but I do think it's a case of like, if you can't maintain any sort of goodwill towards just random people that have nothing to do with you, like, yeah, I don't think you're probably going to be able to like be a nice person. I just don't think that like, yeah, I'd love to like be able to separate it and be like, oh, well, you can hold horrible political views and still be a really nice person to the people that are close to you. But I don't think that's the case, you know? Like, my family weren't nice to each other either. Like, there's always been all sorts of like, this person's not talking to this person in the family and this person's not talking to this person. There's issues between these people. You know, I don't think that healthy, kind, logical people hold those types of views. And they're the types of people that I kind of need to have in my life. It very much felt like all of my family was sort of like playing some sort of game and trying to get one over on each other and all this shit that I just don't understand and both don't want to and cannot be a part of. And that's just that. And it sucks. It's not great. It's not my favourite fact in the fucking world. But I do feel like I've been able to process a lot more of it now. I do feel like I've been able to like maybe feel a lot of the things that I should have been feeling right back when it first happened, but was just in too much of a stressful like fight or flight panic situation to be able to do so. Overall, I just, like, yesterday was fucking horrible, and I really hope next year isn't like that. I really hope that has been me doing some like processing and doing like the brain work to deal with it. And I still like, I don't think I'm ever going to like feel okay about it. It's always going to be like, yeah, this is this really like sad, shitty thing that happened. I don't think I'd be living the life that I'm living now if I hadn't gone no contact and all of that. And having done that, it just doesn't really. I hate to keep saying it, but it doesn't make that much of a difference to me. And I think there's always going to be the times that I get upset because I wanted the best for my mum, but she also like, you know, wanted her to do the best for herself, and she didn't. Didn't do best for me, didn't do best for herself, didn't do best for anyone. And I'm trying very hard to do the best for myself, and I'm really proud of myself for the things that I've done and the position in life that I've gotten myself to. And I just know that she never would have been fucking proud of me. You know, like she wouldn't have been glad for me, she wouldn't have been proud for me. I'm just so genuinely better off without, you know? And it's sad and it's not great, but I also, like I said, I'm really proud of myself. I really like my life now. I'm really happy with where I'm at. And yes, there is still a massive part of me. It's like, but wouldn't it be lovely to have a mum that liked you? Wouldn't it be lovely when you've had a hard day to be able to come home and phone your mum? Like, there's all sorts of situations where I do very much wish that I had a mum that was nice and that loved me and that was, you know, so on and so forth. But it wasn't my mum. So I've done the best for me. It's sad that she couldn't do the best for her. This is where we're at. And it's all right for me to feel sad and for me to get upset and whatever else, but yeah, it's all right, essentially. You know, and it's all kind of like not all right, but also it is all right. Do you get it? And I think it is also the thing of like, often when other people have commented on videos like this that have had similar experiences to me in regards to like their no contact parent dying, it's someone that was like, you know, there's no confusion about whether or not they were an abusive, shitty person. Like, they absolutely were, and the world is absolutely a better place for them not being here, and they're happy about it, and like, fucking go you. Like, I'm very much like, however any of us feel about the situations that we have is absolutely valid and fine. But the neglect and abuse that I got from my mum was so, you know, it was the type that really trained me to try desperately to get her validation and affection. And it was the absolute main goal in my life for a very long time, was just to try and make my mum like me. So I just, you know, sometimes she was so kind to me and so nice to me and made me feel so special and so loved that I'm not able to be like, I'm happy that she's dead at all. Like, I'm not. I really wish that she was still just like out there doing her own thing in some ways. I always think that, and then I remember that she was like voting for Brexit and UKIP and stuff, and I'm like, you know? At the end of the day, life happens and we do have to deal with it. And I think it's okay to take your time to deal with it. I think it's okay if it's, you know, the kind of situation like I've had where I didn't have the ability to deal with it at the time. So I do feel like I've had to deal with it in like a slightly more belated way. And I still don't feel like I'm necessarily as upset as I'm like, quote unquote, supposed to be about my mum being dead. But I also don't think she, like, you know, quote unquote acted like a good fucking mother to me. So sort of tit for tat into it. I'm sorry. You know, like, I'm a very like an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. I don't think you should retaliate. But I also, as much as some people seem to think it is, I don't think that me going no contact with her was a retaliation. It was me protecting myself. It was me looking after myself. It was me doing what I needed to do to not be incredibly fucking depressed and used and abused and just having a horrible fucking time. I didn't deserve to be treated like that. She's not entitled to be able to treat me like that just because she was my mother. And this is the way the world works. This is how things go. I'm feeling a lot better for feeling like I actually have done some more processing of it. I think it's probably something that I will be processing on and off for quite a long time. And I'm doing a better job at, you know, dealing with it and feeling my emotions and feeling things about it. And I think that I'm doing quite well. And I'm very, 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 very fucking ready to stop talking now. So very quickly at the end here, I will have a link down below so that my local friend, I don't really need to mention that he's local anymore, do I? He's the only one now because we got Shannon and Seth their van. I am going to say another like really quick massive thank you to everyone that helped in any way for Seth and Shan to get their van. It's a massively life-changing thing for them. It's so exciting. It's so brilliant. I'm so honoured and touched and proud that my little community here was able to have a hand in it. It's made me very, very happy. It's really been life-changing for them. It's absolutely amazing. So I really want to like stress that I'm so thankful, and Shannon and Seth are so thankful, and it's just, oh, it's so great. And it would obviously be so fucking brilliant if we could also help my friend Alec to get his top surgery. I think we all know how difficult it is to receive gender-affirming care and to make sure that it's the right type of thing for you. And like, it's such a deeply personal and massively life-changing decision, so I would really love to see him be able to get into the position that he wants to be with it. It'd be really cool if you wanted to share, if you wanted to donate, anything that you can do to help I would very deeply appreciate. And even quicker at the end here, I'm also going to link my Patreon down below. It's up to you. You can do what you want. It's so up to you. Do whatever the fuck you want. I know it's hard times. If you can help, it's fab. If you can't, that's fine. If you can share it around, that's brilliant. I'm going to stop now. Whoever you are, wherever you are, if you have a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days with something hopefully a bit more fucking cheerful, like Jesus.